Hi there and welcome to the inspired art writing theme called the Bewitched Forest. We've pitched this at lower key stage 2, but like with all of our writing themes, they can be fully adapted to suit any year group. In this particular unit, children will be launched into a fantasy mythical kingdom where they'll view lots of different areas on a map and focus the majority of their time in this magical, enchanted forest, which we call the Bewitched Forest. They'll follow the story of two children who've become lost in the forest, Jacob and Maria. What you're looking at here is the dashboard, and underneath here, if I scroll down, you'll see the unit of study learning outcomes that will appear within the theme. And on the right-hand side, it tells us that their final writing outcome will be a story where they will continue the story of the forest and what happened to these two children, Jacob and Maria. At the top, you've got their expected skills here, and at the bottom here, you've got their beyond expectation skills. If I scroll down, you've got the national curriculum skills, the spoken reading and writing, that will appear within the unit. We've got our vocabulary, expected vocabulary, and beyond expectation vocabulary as well. We've got some homework opportunities here that can be filtered throughout the unit, as well as some thematic opportunities here. And then, just to reinforce what we said earlier, our final writing outcome, after they've discovered the forest, they've been launched into it, they learn a little bit about Jacob and Maria, and they go on this quest. They'll then do this final writing outcome where they then write their own story about the bewitched forest and the two missing children. So I'm going to scroll down to session 1 and I'm going to go through a chunk of the unit with you. We've got the objectives and the skills for each session. The bottom here is our learning outcome. The middle area here is our delivery of the session. And the right-hand side, if you look at my cursor here, is the stimulus they'll use on the scene. And I'll show you that very shortly. We've got these engaging interactive scenes, and these icons here on the scene will present children with various stimulus that can be used throughout the sessions. We've got our printable resources. Some of them are reading resourcing, like this one here. I click on this. Here we have the Bewitched Forest text. If I scroll down to session 1, we've got a flow chart here for session 1. So these are printable resources that run alongside the sessions, and they are clearly labeled as well for your ease, that you can see which session goes with which resource. So if we come to then session 1, if we look at session 1, they're going to be answering some comprehension questions on the details contained in the Bewitched Forest. So there's an ebook here, an electronic book, and an audio book that they can read, and then they'll produce their flow chart on the events of the story. If I move to session 2, we've got a philosophy for children activity, and what they're going to do here is discuss the philosophical concept of imagination. When we come to session 3, they're going to produce then a lost children poster to enlist a character to find Jacob and Maria. And then when we come to session 4, they're going to produce then a character profile of the person who will be undertaking the mission of finding Jacob and Maria. So they're going to create this character, and we'll find out very shortly when I click on the scene, their character comes from this kingdom called Asgul, and the children get to choose where their character comes from. Once they've chosen and created their character, they're going to write a postcard home from the character describing the various places this person has walked through in the kingdom of Asgul. As he or she walks through the kingdom, they eventually come to the Bewitched Forest in session 6. At this point, they're going to write a diary entry about their character's experiences of being in the Bewitched Forest. When they come to session 7, they're going to find out that they've got lots of creatures in the forest as they walk into it, and they're going to meet a creature, and they're going to label a creature based upon what the children have read about them. And so as we scroll down, we can see here that they're going to go through the forest. Eventually, they're going to come to Merlin's hut in session 10, which, again, I'll show you all this very shortly. And they're going to write a description using sensory language of Merlin's workshop And then they're going to create their own potion and listen to Merlin himself. And then they're going to choose various ingredients to create a potion to help them find Jacob and Maria. And then as we scroll down, they're going to write a brief description of their character drinking the potion, and then they'll be able to then plan and draft their story in session 14 and 15, for then in session 16 to finally write up their story to be potentially assessed if the teacher so wishes. And at this point here, they've got so much information, they've interacted with the stimulus, they've engaged with some of the characters, and now they're able to write a really good quality story with all the information they've gathered. So I'm going to show you the scene now. So if I click off this and click on the Bewitched Forest scene, here we are. This is the Bewitched Forest, and this is eventually where their character will end up and where Jacob and Maria are lost. All the icons you see in front of you are clickable. And as we said, our character begins their story in this mythical fantasy kingdom. We've got this little area, we've got this kingdom here, and this is where Jacob and Maria live, and they've clearly got lost here in the forest, but the children can choose anywhere on this map where their character comes from, and everything is clickable and readable. So to get more information on the kingdom, they just click on these little thumbnails on the map to find more information about the kingdom of Asgul. It's really fun, lots of reading, lots of inference here to really flesh out this character they're going to create. And eventually, as we said, they're going to write a postcard home as they travel across this map to the Bewitched Forest. When they end up there, here they are, lots of different creatures to begin with. And as we said in the unit of study, they're going to find a creature, they're going to learn about this creature, and they're going to choose one to travel with them on their journey. So if I click on the leprechaun here, here's our information on the leprechaun. And if I choose this character to help me on my journey, as the children will need to do so, if you follow the scheme, then it tells us how this is going to impact our story. By choosing a leprechaun as a creature for your character, they might find a little luck on their journey. However, they are short-tempered and they might find themselves arguing quite a bit. So there's a bit of fun there for the children. And whatever creature you choose or the children choose, it's going to impact their stories in different ways. Each creature has different characteristic traits that will affect their narrative. Eventually, they will end up in Merlin's hut. So if I click on this toggle switch here, you'll end up in Merlin's hut. And here they're going to buy some ingredients and they're going to create now their potion that will help them find the two missing children. So if I click on the shopping cart icon here, you can see I've got 150 coins. I can read up on these weird and wonderful ingredients. And once I've found something I like, so I'm going to buy some caterpillar beetles here, it's going to affect the statistics on my potion. At the moment, I've increased my physical strength, but if I mix it with another ingredient, it's going to start then adding other things as well for my potion. And again, this is going to impact their story and their narrative as they create this weird and wacky potion to help them find Jacob and Maria. They've got to think about critically what type of powers they want, and they've got to keep within budget. They will watch Merlin as well. If I click on this play button, they will listen to Merlin and he will tell them about a potion that he's created, because they're going to write about potion making, and this is going to really support them in that. Eventually, towards the end of the unit, they're going to find their way home, and this is when these puzzle pieces, these yellow puzzle pieces, are going to support them there. They're going to go on one final quest by clicking on these puzzle icons, and each one they look at is going to give them a clue to unlock the next puzzle piece. So you can see here, so if I go on to number 2, which is right here next to the fox, Fox has given you a riddle. Do you know the secret word to unlock the next clue? Your journey is nearly over. Let's celebrate with tea and cake. There's one more thing for you to do. Choose carefully the path you take. is the answer. So if I go into number 3 and type in take, we unlock the next clue. And eventually they're going to go to the final one here, icon 5, and type in the final clue. And this is where they complete their puzzle quest, which will then support the planning of their final story. So there's lots of things they'll be doing in this unit of study. So I'm just going to show you now the unit itself that will run alongside the scenes just for your ease and further support you on how to use them effectively. So I'm going to go back to the unit. And so what you're going to see is on the left-hand side is the unit of study, and on the right-hand side will be the scene itself. I click on the sessions, scroll down, session 1, telling me to click on the question mark icon, then the curriculum reading tab. And here I've got my ebook that's going to launch the children into their writing, into the scene in which they learn about these 2 children and how they got lost in the forest. And then when I come to session 4, that's when I engage in this map, this interactive map, as the children produce a character profile. So that's how you use it. It's really nice and simple. Just look at the icons on the right-hand side for what resource on the scene you're going to use. And then when we come to session 6, that's when they start looking at the Bewitched Forest. Session 7 is when they're going to be looking and clicking on those character icons. And then when we come to session 10, that's when they're going to change the scene to Merlin's hut, where they create a potion. And then finally, when we come to sessions 14 and 15, that's when they're going to start using these puzzle icons. And we've told you the password for each clue. So puzzle 3 is take, puzzle 4 is me, and puzzle 5 is home. And by clicking on those jigsaw icons and completing those riddles, each one of those puzzles is going to represent a paragraph in their planning sheet. And then when we come to session 16, that's when they start writing their story that can be assessed. And that is the inspired art writing theme called The Bewitched Forest.